Woody and I are, well, hey everybody, we're live now. Welcome to the QB show, Tuesday night, June 24th, a week after wonderful Scaling New Heights. We had some interesting, an interesting week, a great time, met a lot of great people, and right now it's just me, which is, sorry everybody, but they gave me control. We're trying to get Woody in the show right now. Stacy is a little under the weather, so I'll let her tell that story next week. But anyway, so I'm in control today. And for those of you who have never been to the show before, we want to welcome you to the show, and certainly are looking forward to tonight. And here comes Woody. Okay, well I couldn't get in for some reason, so Woody, I'm psyched you're here.
Yeah, how's it going, Don?
All right, I'm gonna shut you off the phone now, buddy.
All right, that's awesome.
Can you hear me, Woody?
Oh, I hear you great. Yeah, how's it going there?
Let's see.
Am
I on mute?
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Right on.
Yeah. Now we're in. We're doing it.
Oh my goodness! What in the world is behind you?
Yeah, I'm kind of laid up with some health issues, so I'm actually doing the show from my bed tonight. Sorry. This is our awesome headboard that Nicola made. Nicola made this headboard from old coffee bags and wood and padding, and she built it because she builds all our stuff: desks, tables, chairs, and then this.
Pizza.
So.
She's great at building pizza.
Yeah, pizza as well. No, she's rocking and rolling. But yeah, hey, we figured out how to start this and get it going, and without Stacy, which is really amazing because I was about to just hang it up. I was about to just stop. You know what I mean?
I know. But I'm like, okay, let's swap. Maybe I'll log in and try to invite you. And
no, that totally worked. That was awesome. Hey, I was going to try to do this. I wanted to play the sponsor things, and I wanted to share out and play them. So we go through the sponsor. If at any time you can't hear it, Dawn, means nobody else can, let me know. We'll stop, and then we'll just talk about it.
Right on.
Thanks for your patience, everybody. I'm going to share out now, full screen share, and I'm going to bring up. There's a nice picture of us in Scaling New Heights. Do you see that?
Yeah, very nice.
Doing our thing. That's great. Now I'm going to try to go ahead and play this for everybody. Let me know if you can hear it.
We got nothing.
Nothing?
Nope.
Gotcha. That's a bummer. That's not going to work.
Well, she's been, I think Stacy has been...
She's been working on that, yeah.
We're still trying to figure that out, but...
Okay.
That's
well, okay. Let me do this. I'm going to run through the sponsor real quick. Again, we thank you for watching the QB show. Again, Stacy's under the weather. She'll be back with us next week. It's just Dawn and I, and thanks for your patience. We're only really just 5 minutes into it. This is perfect, so we were able to figure it out. So my name is Woody Adams. I'm a product specialist with Intuit, and been with Intuit for a long time, but the show itself is not really affiliated with Intuit, and anything that I might say here might not really match the opinion statements or views of Intuit. So I need to say that as my kind of legal blurb. And then, of course, we have Don Brolin, who you guys saw first, from Wyndham, Connecticut. And Don, before I even go into sponsors, yeah, how's it going? How's the week going?
It's good. It's good. I got back a little bit late, a little later than expected. You know, that's what you do for friends. You take care of them. That's what you do, right on. So I got back real late, or early, I guess, Saturday morning, and kind of refocused a little bit on Sunday to get ready for the week, and, you know, jumped into it, cold pool in Connecticut. At least it's always, where you are, it's always,
it's hot.
You have to be careful not to burn yourself when you get in a pool in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
But in Connecticut, it's freezing, so it's like jumping into a pool. But jumped back into it yesterday, got a whole bunch of stuff done, did a nice little examination of some books for potential bookkeeper fraud. Turns out it wasn't bookkeeper fraud, it was just a horrible bookkeeper. So she didn't steal anything, but except for, maybe, I guess maybe in a way it is stealing when you're a horrible bookkeeper and you're still allowing yourself to get paid. So there's that. Nice. But, that was kind of fun, and then I went to a client all day, left this morning at around 7:30, and just got back, literally rolled in, had some chicken, got to have a little bit of protein, then jumped out here. But, just a packed week of work and some good stuff. But we'll talk a little bit about that as we answer the questions, because I know I've got some good stuff on the Mac today. Spent, nice 8 hours on the Mac, and
Oh, that'll be fun.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we'll
good.
talk about that.
Yeah.
And then let's recap SNH too. We'll recap Scaling New Heights. That was quite a whirlwind, a lot of fun, San Antonio. So we'll get there. But cool, nice job taking over the reins and getting this going. Because literally, I was just going to hang it up.
A lot of pressure.
Go watch soccer or something.
Nice.
Right. All right. So sponsors, Stacy's working on a nice video movie that will play for about a minute and 10 seconds before and after each show. That has a little music behind the scenes, and then it shows our sponsors. But we have yet to been able to figure out how to get that sound and everything hooked into the actual Hangout itself. So, and Stacy's going to be the one that figures that out. I'm just going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
gonna be me. Not gonna be me. I made my one attempt to try to play the YouTube. But thanks for you guys watching. Most people are going to watch throughout the next couple weeks, and that's great. You can either just play the YouTube and put it in your system tray, so it's like a podcast, or you can watch if you want to. And you can, kind of poke fun at the headboard I have behind me, which is awesome. We could probably sell it for about $100. So sponsors, of course, and we had them on stage with us at Scaling New Heights. Ian Clyde was there. Avalera.com. They're a dynamic tax decision engine, calculating rates. They're way ahead of the curve on Nexus and all that kind of stuff, and the tsunami that's coming with sales tax. It also uses GPS tracking and ship-to address, so they're there. Avalera.com. Of course, a real darling of the ball at Scaling New Heights was T-Sheets, tsheets.com. They're in 31 countries now. I need to update that. Also have a GPS-enabled app. It is time tracking online, hooks up to both desktop and QBO. Unidata, they've been with us from the beginning. They're QuickBooks and Microsoft Office hosting. They also go by a name called Skyline. So they're doing some really neat stuff, even streaming QuickBooks to your computer through the web, which is awesome. But, of course, they host even point-of-sale and tax products, and both Don and Stacy use them as their platform. So UnidataIT.com. Another booth that was there, exactonline.com, manufacturing wholesale add-on for both QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online, manufacturing, scheduling, etc. And finally, Zencash, zencash.com. They help you take care of your accounts receivable, which Don doesn't have any, but most businesses do, and help you get that money collected, as well as send out nice reminders, and they have a cool action timeline and accounts receivable. So very cool. Thank you very much for your patronage of the show and in sponsoring the show. So we're back at it, Don. So for you, Scaling New Heights recap. How was it?
Well, I taught the advanced certification. I had amazing people in the class. We were around 57 attendees, 55 to 60 attendees each session, all 5 sessions.
That's packed.
Really, it's really great when you have people who are pursuing the advanced certification. People are, really intense in the class and have a lot to offer the class, right? So it's not just me, it's about kind of a group effort of learning. And as I told them, the bulk of them, I would say probably all of them, or at least the majority, already know what they need to know to finish the exam. And it's a matter. It takes quite a commitment of time and effort to pass the exam, but and that's probably the biggest challenge, is the time that it takes. And it was probably 30 hours of time to pass the exam between figuring it all out. And I really appreciated their participation, and they were just a great group of people. And then on Wednesday, I taught QuickBooks at tax time, QuickBooks at year end, which was really fun, because the QuickBooks at tax time was fun on some levels of like the reporting in QuickBooks and keeping work papers and making sure you have your stuff together. And then QuickBooks at year end certainly is tying out the balance sheet and tying out sales and payroll and those kind of things, which are always a blessing. Right. And then we did actually how does QuickBooks help you grow your accounting and tax practice, or how can it help your accounting and tax practice? And I have to say that was probably my favorite one. Of course, it was the last one. We determined in the class that it was a really good wrap-up to the week to hone in on, okay, you learned a lot of stuff here. Let's get laser focused on what did you take away? What were the big takeaways? What were the, because it's hard to capture, especially at Scaling New Heights, to bring together all of the learning, all of the things you learned, whether it was in the classroom or at the bar or at dinner or at the pool, wherever it was for you. That short amount of time of 3 days, 4 days if you include Sunday, the amount of information that it's like a fire hose. And so, is that the right way to say it? Like, you know, it's like being blown away with a
fire hose.
Try and have a drink of that. Okay.
Yeah, drinking from a fire hose. Totally.
Is what's going to happen. So, but we really tried to bring it back to how are you, if you're going to grow your businesses, I'm just going to give a quick little recap of that class because it was really, I had so much passion around that class. And they, you know, how do you, if you're going to be ready to grow your practice, whether it's new clients or growing within your existing client base, right, how are you going to service your clients and do it best, but be able to be ready for that kind of growth? You have to have systems in place. You have to have certain things in place. To just go out and grow your practice and all of a sudden you have anarchy, I've lived that. I think that I in a way lived that and now, and I talked about that. You know, it was a lot about, it was a big trust circle, Woody. You know, it was a big circle of, hey, listen, we've all been there. When you're ready to grow your practice, so let's make sure you have your systems in place. We talked a lot about that. And it was just awesome. So, and of course, seeing the T-sheets, I can't say enough about them.
It was fun.
That they are. Like, they're really fun, they're down to earth, and they have an amazing business. You love New York. I get it, Woody. I love your club. You love New York, man.
I get to go there once a year with the Accounting and Technology show. It's my favorite show, besides Scaling New Heights, because we get to stay down on, like, 29th Street. So I get to walk around at night. It's really cool, New York City.
You took a lot of pictures. You took a lot of pictures of the buildings and stuff when you were there. You really enjoyed that.
And we went to the 9/11 site, which was really, really brutal. I mean, it's beautiful what they've done with it, but when you walk around and they're done, you just feel like a hole in your soul. You know what I mean? It just feels so painful just to walk around there.
Yeah.
But it was really nice, and like the tickets, it's just based on donations. So you get a ticket, but really you're giving money to that, and it's still it's amazing what they're trying to do. They already have one tower back up and a half of the other, but it just feels like people are getting pictures and stuff there, like you're at some kind of landmark or monument. But I was like, no, I don't want my picture taken. It's just too, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just it's a very emotional place. I don't want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you, Woody. I totally get it.
Yep. So,
okay, I don't think a segue away from that, but we'll do our best. Tell me how. So, you know, of course, the Scaling New Heights was. I saw Bob walk into the hotel on. I think it was Monday. He got in because, you know, I don't know. First of all, you can get to San Antonio, but you cannot get out. Right. That's what I can tell because I got delayed and it was a hot mess. But I saw Bob walk in and he had this the shirt and shorts on. It looked like he just came from the beach or something.
Yeah, right. He probably did.
How did your booth go? Tell me about. I mean, I know you were demoing QBO quite a bit and QuickBooks account. How did that go?
Well, Monday I was in the booth all day and it was great because I got to talk to all of your peers, contemporaries, and mostly it was around QuickBooks Online, but a lot of desktop, and I opened that up quite a bit. QuickBooks Online got a lot of good feedback to pass along to developers. Was able to demo some things, and really it's a lot of catching up with people that I've known now over the years. You know, instead of just like QuickBooks issues or QuickBooks questions, we're talking about family stuff. It's really cool. Joe's created a nice kind of family intimate structure there. I think it's really nice. Tuesday was the marathon day. You're right. I helped Stacy with 2 classes. Then we had the QB show keynote half hour. Which is very stressful to get ready for. You know what I mean? It's only a half hour, but it's very involved, and I got to think of things to say and stuff like that. And then, so I'll usually go with like 1 or 2 jokes in my head and then just let it happen. But you rocked it. I think that my bit is always up front, and then I'm done, and then you and Stacy are carrying it home. So it really worked out well, I thought.
It's a team effort, man. You know that.
Totally. And then what really was the most exhausting piece was the 2-hour kiosk thing they did in our booth that night. Everybody drinking, having a great time, high-fiving, and I'm just yelling so I can be heard trying to explain some automated features of QuickBooks Online. So yeah, that was a big day, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and before you know it, you're flying home. So it was. I'm hoping Joe really liked his conference. I thought it was really successful. So.
Yeah, sorry, I'm doing. This is not me typing or responding to emails. I am doing the chat.
You're in chat. Good.
Yeah.
And hopefully Stacy's resting. She's finally getting some sleep
Yeah.
because she needs to rest after all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you're bringing up the end of the year stuff. I was actually doing a demo for a firm in California today, here from home, in my chair over there next to the bed. So I didn't go in. I just been in so much freaking pain.
No.
So, but I wanted to help them out, and it was on desktop tools. And I haven't done a desktop presentation in, I don't know, 2 years maybe, right? So it was really fun though.
Every day.
I know, but it's been a long time. So it was fun though, because I'm going to share out for a sec. I got my file open, and this was actually, they don't do a lot with QBO, which is fine, and they do a lot with desktop, but their clients don't really want to host. So it was all about like being in the accountant's copy file. Hopefully you can see my 2014. So we went through like a lot of the client data review tools. I had some transactions to reclassify, and I fixed some. I haven't touched these tools in a while. They're great. Fix on apply customer payments and credits. I think I blew out some sales tax that was incorrectly recorded, and then I did that kind of adjusting year-end journal entry and reversed it the next day, for the prior period financials that they had messed up. And what I did is, and this was the scenario of this firm, they do a lot with the accountant's copy. So we talked about, the bank reconciliations being undone when you send the changes file back. If there's transactions that were reconciled at the clients that were dated before the dividing date. Like, that's the reason the rec gets undone. You know what I mean? I know you're probably not dealing with accountant's copy because you're hosting. But this firm, their clients don't want to pay for the hosting, and they haven't really been able to, champion that value of, look, if you pay a little bit extra a month, the collaboration's so much easier and you're still on desktop. So, I was encouraging them, for some of their clients, Don, to go hosted, because then they don't have to deal with a file transfer. But for 60, 70% of their clients, they're doing the accountant's copy. And they do a lot with tax, so they're mostly doing these things quarterly and at the end of the year. Right?
Yeah.
So one person asked, and it was great, when I showed them the send journal entry, because it's been around since 2013, where you don't have to actually, whatever file that your client sends you, it could be a backup, but probably they're too big to send through email, unless you got like some kind of portal or something. Maybe they did. But you also have, the portable file, which can be emailed, and they're not really doing a whole lot of subledger work. Really, it's just journal entry adjustments at the end of the year. So I was telling them, hey, for your 13 and 14 clients, use the send journal entry, because it's only journal entries. It sends an attachment to the client, and you can even make it so when they import it, they don't have a choice of what gets imported. And basically, you're not going to give them that choice. It's going to be, this box should never be checked. Allow recipient to select which journal entries to post to file. No, you're going to post what I send you, and that's it, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Right. So you can email it as an attachment or save the file and send it. Whether they send me an accountant's copy file or a portable file, then I have the latest version of their file. I do some journal entry adjustments. I send the journal entries back. Client imports it in if they're in 13 or 14. And the firm was struggling with a few clients that just refused to upgrade from like 09 and 2010 because they don't have payroll or online banking. They have no connected services. So, part of their argument now is, look, besides all the enhancements in, the current years of QuickBooks that you're missing out on, you and I can collaborate better. I can send you a file of journal entries that I do for you, and you can just import them. I don't even need to do the accountant's copy anymore. And so that they have a customer base that really they're only hitting just the journal entry level. And so that feature that Jason did is awesome. Yeah. Love to send journal entry. So I showed them that, then the batch enter transaction we all know, because I think we've done this before, and then some client data review tools. We sent the changes back and imported them, and then really that's basically what we went over for cleanup. But are those not still some of the things that you do at year end?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that was one of my big points when we were talking about year end. It's funny because I charged them and charged me with the task of trying to get a lot of the year end things that we concentrate on, which one of our biggest discussions was 1099s. But with regards to the client data review and being able to use it as a process for those people who don't even have a process yet.
Right.
So those are all good things, and it was funny. One of the classes, Jason walked in,
Oh, nice.
and I was like, dude, I had just talked about Control Y. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Woody, would you mind sharing out real quick? I know you're a hurting dude right now. I can see it in your face. But
Oh, you saw the grimace? You saw
I
the
saw
grimace?
the grimace,
Hey,
but
look.
you're
Check
gonna
it out.
stop,
Look.
Woody.
Look at this shirt.
Yeah, brother, back in New England, my friend. Easy to get in and out of New England. I'm just gonna say that. Not like San Antonio. You can get in and you can get out.
Yeah.
But it's always about the Sox. Did they win last night? They were down like 6-2 when I went to bed.
I've been watching soccer. I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah.
And, I was trying to get into it, but it's very boring. I'm sorry, it's very boring, but I'm trying to get excited.
Yeah, I played in college. I played soccer in college.
Really?
That's the reason I went to. That's not the reason I went to college. That was actually wrong. I actually went to college for accounting, which everyone thought I was weird, which I am. But I did go for. I went to college. I was recruited for soccer, and ended up playing 3 sports my freshman year, and then sophomore through senior year, I played soccer and softball all 4 years.
Nice.
And we were awesome. And of course, as you can just imagine, Woody, I played midfield, so that's, in the middle. So there's typically 3 rows plus typically a couple other people in the back, just to, it's simple. And I played usually right midfield. So we would run the most. Midfield runs the most, period. That's it. Simple.
Right.
And so I would play in the middle, and any of the girls I ever played, if there was ever, well, one time we were actually playing against our big rivals, and we were up 1-0, which was, ridiculous. I mean, we should have never been up 1-0. And the girl came up behind me, something happened, I turned around and punched her. Luckily, the ref didn't see it, Woody. I know you're surprised by that, but I was always retaliating. Which is, anyway, that was a rabbit, but it's a soccer.
Well, someone on the Italian team today bit somebody else in Uruguay, and I guess he's a biter. He's bitten 3 other people over the years. So what would you have done to him if he bit you in the back? I mean, that's just weird.
We're on air, and this is being recorded, so I'm not going to tell you what I would do, but I can promise you he wouldn't be walking anytime soon.
Right.
That's what I tell you. And it's bad. I was never really good at controlling myself,
right.
Which I know on this show you're also surprised by that, because I don't ever say what I think. But yeah, no, I would not allow that. But hey, listen, so we have a really good question in the chat I just want to bring up, Woody.
Oh, sweet.
To it, I'm pretty sure the answer is no. But in the chat, we had someone ask. Jerry asked a great question. So you know how in the in QuickBooks Desktop, of course, you can add the signature to a check.
To checks.
Right, and the logo.
Right.
Now you can't add a signature in QBO, can you? I don't believe I've ever seen the ability to do that. I know you can. The print is a little sketchy.
No, I don't believe you can add a sig in QBO yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no for now, and then I'll, while we're talking, I'll dive in just to make sure. But it's like the actual print wizard, Don, as you've found out, is pretty limited, what you go through, and it's mostly about alignment, not really a, in desktop you have that signature tab, right? Let's look at that.
Well, there's a button there's a button that says
signature
print thing. Yeah. Go ahead and share that.
Let me try to go find that one. And I think when I go to, I think it's like print forms, checks.
I am going to show people. This is.
And then I click OK. Right here, signature.
There you go.
Yep. So that I could not find in QBO. If I go into one of my many realms here, here's the one I used at Scaling New Heights a lot. Yeah, so we pretty much weaned Isaac off of biting other people at age 3. So I'm not sure why a grown adult playing a professional sport is still biting. I think that's very telling, maybe.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that.
Nearly sociopathic, probably. So, by the way, for those of you that are using QBO, some people have this print checks here, some do not. I just wanted to show you that it's kind of been moved around. If you have it, lucky for you. If you don't, just go to Expenses, and you'll see a Print Checks tab right here. And then you can choose to print checks and anything you flag to print check. And then the printer setup, I just do not have down in the lower, the there's no signature, auto signature thing. So if I continue to set up, I mean, I don't see it.
Yeah.
Right? It's mostly about alignment and stuff. Print a sample, things like that. So adjust alignment. There is no such signature thing. So I'm going to say, I say no 100%, Don.
Yep. Okay. Good. That's
But
good.
just know, print checks is either on the expenses tab or it's under transactions. I mean, you have to go to transactions to get there. And of course, when you're on a check, right, if I go to like a check, print is down at the bottom, right? Don't forget those tabs at the bottom. The more, that's where you'll find Jason's Control Y. There's my transaction journal, right? Even though there's no Control Y clicking in QBO, but that's the Control Y report that my mouse is on. And then print check will bring you back to the print check thing. So, you know, you can get to print at the bottom or under transactions or on expenses, but people have been asking about that. So yeah, that would be sweet. The signature one, that'd be neat. We don't have that yet.
Right on.
Right on. Good stuff. So I'm going to unshare. That was a good one. Thanks, Sherry. Any others from the chat room before we go into questions?
Not that I can see right this minute, but go for it. Let's go for it.
All right. Sweet. Now this is a desktop question. Stacy's resting, so we're gonna do mostly desktop tonight. Here's kind of an installation scenario, Don. I mean, I don't know when's the last time you installed QuickBooks, but I do it about once or twice a year.
Yeah.
And most people probably watching or listening to the show do it often. You never know. A lot of firms do the. I mean, do you guys do the installation setup, or do you just kind of do the after the fact?
So I got to tell you something, Woody. Last Friday, in the setup that I was in, the situation I was in last week, I had a client who had some computer genius install an antivirus on the client's computer. They had Point of Sale 10 and QuickBooks Financial 12. The virus wiped out the programs. So the data remained intact, but the programs were gone. So if you double-clicked on the icon, you know how it comes up and tries to look for a program. What program do you want to open this file with? You know, it just there was no QuickBooks program, no exe there, no nothing. So I had to so I logged in remotely, and the location that I was in had barely 2 bars of internet access. So your question was, have I installed software? Well, I had to reinstall the software for her last Friday because this genius put some virus on that was I forget what the name of it is. Anyway, it'll come to me. But it's
that does have the antivirus throws some waves. It's a bottleneck sometimes.
But I'd never seen it before. It was weird. So anyway, so the answer is I had to reinstall Point of Sale and Desktop remotely, which is no big deal normally when you have, you know, full bar internet access. It's no problem.
Right.
But we were able to get her installed and back up and running. But I'll let you ask that question, but I do want to go back to the install, and I want to tell you about when I upgraded her Point of Sale, and because something happened with the merchant account. I want to tell you kind of about that when we're done with this question.
Let's do that. Let's talk about that too, because that sounds interesting and juicy.
Good stuff.
All right. My wife, this is kind of a story, by the way. It's kind of one of those story
I know, I'm going to read it while you do read it.
You don't really, I mean, you don't. My wife has had 2011 QuickBooks, we'll just call it Pro, whatever, installed for a service club, purchased and owned by the club. She recently installed 2014 on the same machine. Mm-hmm. And it's for a nonprofit. So the nonprofit owns it. They had 11, now they have 14. Mm-hmm. Now she's notified by Intit that payroll support for 11 will soon discontinue, and that's true. So obviously this question was back in April or May because we discontinued payroll support 3 weeks ago. So the end of May, all the add-on services for 2011 should have been turned off, including payroll, online banking, things like that. But so the payroll add-on's necessary. They need that, so she has to upgrade. However, since upgrading would result in 2 installs of the same year QuickBooks on the same machine, she will purchase 2013 instead of 14 for the service club. All right, so right away I was like, wait, they already have 14 on there. Why not just upgrade the file to 14?
Right.
So if I just had 11 on the machine and upgraded to 13, I would use the default. This is where you're way overthinking it. They use the default install wizard, which would overwrite 11 and never overwrite the current installation. Sorry, as I'm reading this, guys, I'm just trying to call out red flags.
Yep.
We'll get to it, but you know the option, it's not even the default. It used to be the default up until, I don't know, 2011 or 12, when, you know, when you overwrite anything, an existing install to upgrade, it usually causes issues. That no one overwrites a current Windows, right, with the new Windows, because you're going to have issues. So if you have QuickBooks 2011 installed, when you install 14 or 12 even, whatever one you install, and there's a bullet point to just kind of overwrite and upgrade the current one, don't do that. Leave 11 alone. Just install the newer year on its own, isolate it, open the file, do all that stuff, and then uninstall the old year. Okay, just wanted to hammer on that for a bit.
Yep.
Okay, so I would, overwrite 11, transfer the payroll sub and settings from 11 to 13. However, since the machine has both 11 and 14, I presume that I would have to use the advanced install and tell the wizard where to install and doing. Okay, poor guy. I get it. He just thinks you need a QuickBooks program for each data file. That's right. Really, Don. Is that how you're kind of hearing that?
Yeah, that's what it's sounding like, and what you're saying is exactly right. I mean, I think historically, prior to, I don't remember, but 3 years was a big mark for me in my class, which I think maybe 3 years ago the light turned on for me, but right. Which is probably more like 8. But the installs always should be separate in and of themselves using the advanced, or I guess advanced or whatever you want to call it, separate install. And really interesting that they asked this question. It's actually a really good question, because the other thing that I always do as well is not upgrade the QBW file, but rather restore a backup. So that's another little tip that I would
best practice.
Right. So make a backup of the 11, restore it in 14, and I just find that certainly one of the big warnings on that, and not so much can you do this or can you do that, more of I've had situations where I've upgraded the data file or upgraded the EXE, the actual from, you know, say 5 to 7. So QuickBooks 2005 to QuickBooks 2007 on that machine. The install fails. I can't get the thing to work, and I have to stay there until I'm done, because the client cannot go back to using, even for 24 hours so I can sleep. They can't go back to where they were. I can't put them back where they were if I'm overwriting what was there before. So I think that that's actually the bigger point on the installs and why you do a separate install. But at the same time, I believe as well that they're thinking they have to have a separate EXE, be it the same year or not the same year, for separate QuickBooks files, and they don't.
Which you don't, yeah.
Upgrade everything to 14 and upgrade all your data files to 14 and just work in 14.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I mean, I feel for the guy. I think I overthink things a lot. I think that's a classic overthinking case, overanalyzing it. And since he already has 14 on there, honestly, I would just upgrade the file to 14 and then forget about 13. The less years of QuickBooks Desktop you have installed, the better. I don't think it's wrong to say that. Nope. I think that's okay. On my laptop, every year when the new version comes out, I kill the old one, so I only have one. And then I have a test machine that has, you know, all these years, and just in case I need to go in. Although I'm finding I hardly ever go into anything but 14 right now, because I think I can remember what was in 11, 12, and 13, and for the most part, core functionality is still there. You know what I mean?
I don't think
I understand that firms. I understand that firms have to have a bunch of years, because you can't just force your clients to upgrade them. You can have the policy, I get it, but if they're a tax client and there's a lot hanging on that renewal and their renewal business, you don't want to like push them away by taking a strong stance on upgrading if they don't have to. I get it. So, you know.
Yeah, that's up for debate, Woody.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I mean, it's $160 by the time it's June of 2014. You can still buy 2014 in June. You can get it at Staples or usually at Sam's Club for $60.
Right.
I argue, and I don't argue with my clients, but I I would
Right.
argue the point that if you can't invest $60 in upgrading your file so that I can properly work with you the way I
Right.
should be working with you, then I challenge your statement that you're in business. Maybe you're just in a hobby. And that's okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with hobbies. I'm not. I think everyone should have one. A couple. Even
No,
a
that's
couple.
good. That's good.
I do challenge that.
I think that larger firms, and I think it depends. They might have a.
They might not care.
I think there's a line you got to walk, right? But I agree with you. I would rather have a hard line, but I get it if someone like this scenario today from the webinar. Look, how can I talk this person off of 2010? They don't have payroll. They don't use online banking. It's basically a check register. They're so used to 2010 that they just don't really see even why $60 that's not a value thing for them. Why can't they just keep going?
Certainly one of the things, if you have a client, of course, if there's a client in 2010 and you give them the journal entries back, which there should always be, well, not always. I would say the majority of the time you're handing journal entries back, and if they're not entering them, and you're having to fix their trial balance from the prior year, that's costing someone money. That's costing someone money. It's either you because you're not charging them for it, so it's costing you time, or they're paying for it every year. And so for a half an hour of trying to rebalance the trial balance and and kind of work around that, it can be expensive. So there's some people who just want to make an argument that $60 is a lot of money for someone in business. That's okay with me.
No, I hear you. It's ridiculous, and it sounds crazy to me, but I do think that send journal entry thing, is going to be their hook. I think they're going to get that person off because all they do for them is journal entry adjustments. Hey, look, I can send you a file to import. You don't have, you just send me a little portable file, and then that's it. We're done. You know what I mean? So you don't have to overwrite anything.
Yeah.
They're all confused. Well, how do I save the file? How do I overwrite this backup? What do I do? And then you're walking someone through the restore wizard just to overwrite a file.
Right.
Probably not worth it. So I agree. It's easier to collaborate with us, the firm. Therefore, it's costing you less.
Yeah. But whatever.
Yeah, I know. $60. That's great.
Right
So
on.
no, good question. So that's the installation story there. I would, you pretty much summed that one up. So you want to talk about your cool point of sale thing?
Well, it's just interesting. I used to do a lot of point of sale. I've set up a lot of point of sale. I don't want to do point of sale, but I'm sucked into. I have 3 clients on point of sale right now, and they're clients I've had for a long time. And so one of them last week when we had the issue, so I downloaded point of sale, got him the newer version 11, and we upgraded the data. So we took the backup, restored the backup, no problem, everything was good. We had to reconnect the merchant account, the POS merchant account. So we did. For some reason, it was kind of a weird thing anyway, but her password didn't work when she signed into the merchant account because you have to link the data file to the merchant account when you upgrade. And for some reason, and people who use point of sale all the time probably know the reason for this. It blew me away. But we reconnected the QuickBooks, the point of sale file, and it created a new merchant account. It created somehow an upgraded, and again, I'm sure that Leslie Capichetti, who is phenomenal, and Will English, who's phenomenal, and other people who are point of sale psychos, which I am not, understand that that's what happens. I had not upgraded anyone the 3 people I have are on 10. So I've not upgraded anyone to V11. And so it was the first time. So when I upgraded and logged into the file, again, it was like an emergency reinstall. It's their busiest time of the year, and she had to have it back up and running Friday. It was the best I could do. I couldn't find the 10 exe file to reinstall. That was a whole other thing because she didn't have an Intuit account, and I'm like, listen, if you want this thing up and running in the next hour and a half to 2 hours, you're going to upgrade. That's all I got for you. The best I can do. If you don't want to call support or call them directly, and I have to do it, this is what you're going to get. So I
Right.
upgraded, tried to log in, and created a second merchant account. So when she logged into the merchant center, if for people who don't know, when you log in, and I can't demo it because I don't have a demo merchant account, but if you log into the merchant account, at the top part of the screen, there's a drop down. Now, people who have one merchant account don't realize that when you hit that, when you click on your merchant account at the top, if you have multiple accounts like point of sale, go payment, whatever the case is, it'll show the multiple accounts.
Right.
So when she logged in, she'd never done that. She had no need. She had one account. It was a point of sale account. That's it. She didn't have a financial, QuickBooks, merchant account, so she never had a drop down before. So when she logged in and she searched for transactions, couldn't find any of her transactions for point of sale from the whole weekend, and she was very upset about it, which I totally get. I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars. So she's freaking out. So I talked to her on Monday, and she again has every right to be worried about it. I logged into her merchant account, and I instinctively go up to the top and look to see if there's multiple accounts. Just, I don't know why I do it. It's just a habit, maybe. And I saw she had 2 accounts, and I'm like, what the heck? So I clicked on the second account, and there were all her transactions since Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So I called into it. I called the merchant support because, number one, we wanted to make sure she was going to get her money and it was going to be funded. She thinks it's all out in outer space, which, we know how clients are. They think which is possible. It could, I don't know, anything can happen. But anyway, so we found her transactions. They were all there, but it was a second merchant account, and the she guy couldn't tell me why the second account was created because she thought I applied for a GoPayment account for her. I'm like, no, I don't apply for people. You have to put your bank information. When it's GoPay, it has to be a separate thing, all this stuff. So anyway, needless to say, we think it's because she ended up upgrading to a multi-store.
Oh, yes. Yeah, well, wait a minute. In the multi-store, you have to create a second mass account, I thought. A separate one for that store.
I didn't tell the story there, Woody. I didn't even give you
Yeah. That's normal. You have to create a separate mass account per store.
So that's interesting because it never used to be that way. I recall, I had one client that had 3 point-of-sale stations. She had one merchant account, one point-of-sale merchant account with 3 stations.
Right, but that's in the one store, right?
Right.
Okay, what about the other store?
Well, I only upgraded her to the multi-store in anticipation of the new store. She doesn't have a second store yet.
Gotcha.
So the whole thing, anyway, again, I am not declaring at all that I know what I'm, except for transactional and how it's supposed to go to financial, and I can set people up. Obviously inventory accounts, how to map them and all that stuff.
Right.
But those kind of weird things when you're always doing installs, that's why you call a point-of-sale expert, which I am not declaring I am. She just had to have me.
Well,
kind of thing, right?
I go into point-of-sale maybe once every 2 months now, and it's usually reactive to try to remember something if someone asks me.
Right.
But you're right. Each store has to have their own mass account number, so they would set up a separate mass account for the second store, even though you can use the same bank account that it's going to.
But the point is,
reason.
You have to set it up. It just set up a new merchant account. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't like we chose.
Oh, she didn't have a choice when she logged in or something? Interesting.
It was weird.
Okay.
The whole thing was weird. Anyway, that's my whole. It was the first time I'd installed software. Yeah. I don't remember the last time.
Yeah.
Because I use Unidata. They do that for me.
So Stacy instant messaged us. She said, "Cool," and I told her we're rocking it. So she's hanging in. I told her to go to sleep, go rest.
Yeah, we're doing what we're doing.
All right, how about this? This is a good one, and we could equate this to desktop.
I miss her, though. I miss her on the show.
Well, this was something that would probably confuse me, but I think it's more just theoretically how you handle it. I've paid for an expense on behalf of a client, so it's reimbursed expenses, or you're going to pass it through. The client has now reimbursed me for this expense with a check. So let's say you're entering an expense in to desktop or QBO. It doesn't matter. I think this is even a global question because they spell check QUE, so it must be like Australia or UK. Doesn't matter. So the client is now reimbursed me for this expense with a check. How do I account for this check since it's already been accounted as a cost of labor? So assuming he used a 2-sided item, he's on a check, he assigned the job, and then maybe he even picked it up and invoiced the client. The client sent him a check for payment for that reimbursed. Would you not just go to receive payment and apply it to part of the invoice or whatever? Am I missing something?
Great question, because it was actually part of the advanced certification.
Interesting.
And there's certainly two ways you can treat reimbursed expenses, and you have to choose which you want to use. One is certainly to decrease, set up the double-sided like you're talking about. You pay with the item, so it hits your cost of labor, because in this case they're saying it's being accounted for as cost of labor. Hits your cost of labor, and then you use that same item on an invoice to be reimbursed. When you get reimbursed, it'll offset that cost, the cost of that labor. So let's say you paid out $100, they reimburse you 100, zeros out.
Nice.
Some people will use reimbursed expenses as income if they're marking it up. So if there's a markup, we're assuming here that it's just a simple reimbursement, in which case just offset the expense, you're on your way, use an item, double-sided item. But if they mark it up, you would have the markup portion, it reimburse, or I don't know, markup income was kind of the example we used in class. So a markup income account, the offset would be to the cost of goods sold as far as the expense goes, but the markup would be the revenue account.
Nice.
So that's kind of how that goes. But it's cool.
Very
that was a
cool.
good question. I'm going to guess Canada with the spell.
Yeah, you're probably right, and that was a lot harder than I thought it was, because, you know, I'm just thinking, well, and I'm assuming a lot with that. He already entered it in QuickBooks as COGS, so he put it on a check or whatever, and hopefully assign it to a job so that he could then create an invoice against that cost. But maybe he didn't create the invoice. Maybe, you know, it's just hanging out there. It's not really something he is going to put on an invoice. I was thinking if he did put it on an invoice, then the check would be a quote-unquote payment, right?
Right.
So I guess you could change, you know, the check he gets would be in the receive payment window. But there's obviously deeper stuff there going on.
Yeah. The key to it, Woody, is that the accounting is correct. Right? The accounting always has to be right. That's the
it ties back to your original discussion point for today's hangout, was Jason's Control Y report, and that's just the best way to find out if it's correct.
That's right. What is the entry behind the transaction? Because creating a sales receipt is not creating a sales receipt. It's actually doing an accounting entry. Right. It's the facilitation of the accounting is what it is.
That's awesome.
And I think that sometimes we miss that. But in the Mac, and I actually had someone, I'll have to send it to Stacy. I had someone in the class send me a shortcut to the Mac shortcut keys.
Oh, nice.
Because I'm not at all a Mac expert, but I'm on my Mac right now, and I use the Mac through Citrix, and I use the Mac today a lot. But I tried to Command Y, and maybe it's a Control. I couldn't figure out how to do Control Y in the Mac, and I.
Oh yeah, how do you do that?
Actually, can you do it? Do you know how to do it, Woody?
In the Mac, Control Y.
Well,
No.
I hit Command Y because usually the Control key, the Command key is the Control key, like Command D for delete.
No, I hear you. Maybe it is that. I don't know if I have the.
I tried it today. I tried Command.
The Mac. Wait. So you guys probably know that for the Mac there is something called Little Square, which is a cool little community for Mac QuickBooks Mac users. It's called Little Square.
I saw that today on the Mac. Is that in an update? Was that new or new release?
Well, maybe the link to Little Square, but you can go to Little Square from almost anywhere. You could even Google it. I'm trying. How come I don't have my link to it? That's weird. Let me go to Google. So let me show you guys this is a great little Google.com, and I think you can go like QBMac, Little Square. Intuit QuickBooks for Mac, tips, trick, ideas. Here, I'll share this out because it's kind of cool. No, that's the wrong one. Here we go. Sorry. All right, let me share out. And I'm going to start the screen share. Boom. Okay. So right now I'm on the Little Square for Mac. So if you guys have any Mac clients, this is a community site. I mean, it's I don't really, I think Intuit created it, but a lot of people kind of go out here and do stuff. And you can search the website, but we could do like, what is it? What would you search for that? Key shortcuts?
Yeah, I'm going to forward it to you, Woody.
Oh, you already have it. Okay.
Yeah, I already have it. I forget.
Yeah, here we go. Keyboard shortcuts for Mac. There it is. Let's see if they have one on the journal.
Beth from QBBob.com. She's the one who sent it to me. I'll forward this over to you.
This is cool. Yeah, so check it out. QuickBooks Command Q. Yeah, so they do a lot of option or command or option command. There's one.
Yeah.
They're like edit, undo is Command Z, cut, Command X, etc. Because command is like the control key for Windows. So you just kind of transaction history. We're getting closer. That's Command U. I need transaction journal. Darn.
Yeah, I tried it today. Fun.
I don't.
And of course, the QB for Mac, I don't need it in this particular case, but I do need it for another client. We're waiting on some bank statements from 2010.
You know, it's weird because usually they have a transaction journal report in any QB. Oh, here it is. Command T. Command T.
So go. Oh, I have the Mac open. I don't have the QuickBooks open, but
if you're on a sales receipt or something, I bet Command T will bring you to the journal behind it. What a cool thing, man. This go to Little Square and search for. I'm just telling people in general who have QB Mac clients and you just want to learn stuff, and then just search for shortcuts. That's pretty sweet. Mac shortcuts. I'm gonna save this one in my little Mac QB Mac folder. I have so much content here saved over the years. There you go. I hope I remember it's there one day if I ever need it. Whoa,
I'm in there right now, Woody. Stand by, my friend. I'm gonna actually even try to share this out.
Oh, that would be sweet. You're gonna show your webcam? You're gonna move your webcam to the other monitor?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, and it actually works. Command T does work.
Awesome.
Nuts. Okay, stand by, everybody.
Control Y and QB Mac.
All right, you ready?
Sweet. Yeah.
I'm gonna share, Woody, to be the first one.
You can do it.
Can you see it?
No.
Okay, stand by. We're gonna get there.
Oh, I think you're there. Yep.
Can you see me?
No,
okay.
That's me. Now go on your Mac. You got to kind of minimize the browser, yeah, or else it'll go into like infinity.
Right. Can you see QuickBooks?
No, now I'm seeing you.
Right, hang on just a sec. Stand by, people. I appreciate your patience, but Brolin's learning here.
This is awesome.
Desktop.
It's almost there.
Oh, okay.
All right, now bring up your Mac.
Can you see it now?
Sweet, yeah.
All right, so I'm in a sales receipt. I'm holding the Command and the T.
T like Tom.
Command T. Okay, hold on. There we go. Command T.
Oh, there it is.
There it is, everybody.
So what? So.
Control it. And you know what? While I'm in here, real quick, Woody, if you don't mind, this is one of the things that I'm hoping that we can get them to give us.
Oh.
No undo.
Oh, wait a minute. No, undo's in 13 and 14. What are you in?
Oh, I'm in 12. That's why.
Yeah, that's why. It's in there.
All right. This is just my little sample file here.
I know. Undo is in 13 and 14. Yeah, that was a big one.
13 and 14. I just need to upgrade. Okay, so how do I unshare?
Just click on the green again. There you go. Oh, nice job. Hey, that was probably the coolest. That was like the coolest event tonight. So basically, we just proved that. Now, QBO has a transaction report. I showed you. Remember when I shared out, I was in QBO under the More tab, Transaction Journal. That's Control Y. That's Jason's report. Desktop, we know it has it because we call it Control Y. We know Mac has it. So all three of our products are double entry accounting systems.
And you can get to the source of the entry from any transaction you're on, which I think is really, really key.
It's a T-chart, right, behind the scenes. You can prove that, yes, COGS was debited or undeposited funds was credited or whatever, right? You're trying to do.
Your reimbursement, an example with the Mac, if you a reimbursement item or your client did, and you're sitting with them, and you're actually here's a tip. When you're sitting with a client and you really have no idea, and they ask you, is this posting to the right account? And you have no idea. You can bust out a Control Y, Control Z, Control T, Control V, Control X, Control Y, Control Z, Control T, Control V, Control X, Control Y, Control Z, Control T, Control V, Control X, Control Y, Control Z, Control T, Control V, Control X, Control Y, Control Z, Control T, Control V, Control X, Control Y, Control Z, Control T, Control V, Control X, Control Y, Control Z, Control T, Control V, Control X, Control Y, Control Z, Control T, Control V, Control X, Control Y, Control Z, Control T, Control V, Control X, Control Y, Control Z, Control T, Control V, Control X, Control Y, Control Z, Control T, Control V, Control X, Control Y, Control Z, Control T, more transaction journal in QBO or Command T and pull it up and be able to look at the journal and say, look, it's right here. So this is how you can tell, and you could use it as a teaching tool or a CYA.
Yeah.
Just cover your butt.
That's
if you
awesome.
don't really know what the transaction's doing. Although I'm very upfront with them. I'm like, you know what, I don't have any idea, but let's look.
Right. I mean, why not? You don't have to know everything.
You don't.
I mean,
You don't even have to claim to.
But that's why I really think Jason should, I might just go ahead and one day when I have some extra money, foot the bill for a T-shirt, and I'm going to have it be yellow. It'll be yellow. I'll get, what is he, a large, you think? Get him a large, whatever. And it's going to say, with a dark green, I invented Control Y.
Yeah.
And have his picture on the front and then Control Y on the back or something.
The Control Y guy on the back. Although we're going to do a list now, Woody. It'll have to be Control Y guy, Command T something. I can't think of it right now. Or, QBO.
Yeah. On the back, you could do in Mac, Command T. In QBO, more, Transaction Journal. In desktop, Control Y.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's I don't think there's a keystroke to get there in QBO, though. I'm trying to remember. Let me go into my QBO let me show while we have just a few minutes.
Ask you this, Woody, while you're doing that, is there a shortcut? Is there a shortcut? Is there a shortcut guide for QBO, or are there even shortcuts? I don't even know.
Yeah, here, let me show you. Wait, I'm freezing up. Hold on one second. Here we go. That was me. All right. In any QBO, when you do, Control Shift ? Nope. Wait. Control Alt ? There it is. You see it?
Oh, I see.
Limited. Yeah, very limited keyboard shortcut thing.
Okay.
I don't see anything for, Control Y. That's it. It's pretty limited.
All right, that's a start. We love it.
But Control Alt and then ? will bring you up here.
Okay.
And it's a quick way to your company ID too.
Cool.
If you want to do that. But yeah, so remember, in here on any transaction, I was on I don't know what I was on before, check, but on a bill I can go to More, Transaction Journal, and it should bring me to a very similar version of what Don was looking at in the Mac, and if you did Control Y in the desktop. Wow, it's just really slow.
Well, the Google Hangout sucks up a lot of your...
That's what I'm hoping. See, there it is. That's what happened. There's my T chart.
Nice.
See, Don, crediting AP made it bigger. AP's bigger. See, isn't that good? Isn't that good? I know that. And then office equipment expense, debiting it, made it bigger. They both got bigger.
So proud of you. Look where you are, Woody.
I know. Look where I've come, man.
I know. You're an accountant, man. You just don't know it yet. You're just not willing to admit it. That's the first step,
I'm telling you, T-charts behind QuickBooks, you can really learn a lot of stuff, except for some things, pretty much. You can learn some stuff.
Except for some stuff.
Right? Well, you shouldn't see negative AR on a balance sheet on a cash basis, right? You shouldn't. No. Okay, well, there's a few things that are weird. All right, well, we'd like to thank you guys for your patience and tonight. Hopefully it was fun. Hopefully as you watch this show or listen to it throughout the night, it was fun. We got to some cool questions, and Don found Control Y in QuickBooks for Mac.
Yep. So
there is actually a quote-unquote transaction journal report in all platforms. Desktop, Control Y. Mac was Command T. And QBO, you just got to click the More tab at the bottom, Transaction Journal. No cool shortcut yet. Hopefully we'll have one day. And we'd like to, we hope Stacy's doing well. She should be back on next week. And we'd like to thank Avalara. Again, sales tax. They are dynamic. They are really the leaders in the industry for taking care of all sales tax issues. Please go to avalara.com.
Great to see you last week.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And remember that
I had to do a sales tax return, and it just made me want to stab my own eye out.
I mean, if your clients are struggling, just do the, just do the Avalara. Hooks up to both desktop and QBO. T-sheets. Don was really talking about them tonight. A lot of fun, but they're also really rocking all over the world. Tsheets.com. Online time tracking hooks up with desktop and QBO. And they actually have some reporting in beta. Saw that on the left-hand panel when I saw a demo. Clocking in and out, punching, your phone, GPS-enabled app, awesome. Unidata, of course, QuickBooks and Microsoft Office hosting. That's Unidata
Also,
it.com.
Woody, just want to point out, also hosts Pro Series in Lacerte. Fantastic.
Oh, nice. So tax products, and they host point of sale.
Yeah, at point of sale as well. That's right. Right on.
Also, Exact Online. So for when, you know, QuickBooks just can't handle the manufacturing scheduling as you're going through stages, or it's just a lot of work, really. And it's
too many
eating up your
workarounds. You've got to find a solution.
Right. Get a
Online.
solution. Save your time, and it's Exact Online, exactonline.com. That's manufacturing wholesale add-on. They are web-based, and they hook up to both desktop and QuickBooks Online.
They had a nice booth as well
They
last
did.
week. Yeah.
They did. They were rocking. And then they're huge in Europe, by the way, Don. Exact Online. They're enormous over there, and I think they're just, you know, they're broadening out. So Zencash, zencash.com. Brandon Cotter, he's the owner. They're out of Dallas area.
They killed it last week. They had profile pictures in their booth. They had people were taking pictures and awesome. I mean, their booth was phenomenal, and it was right as you walked in the ballroom. It was fantastic.
Nice. No, it's great. And accounts receivable, take away your woes with that. Let them handle it. There's an action timeline. You can send reminders, send thank yous, stuff like that. So those are our sponsors. We appreciate you sponsoring the show. And again, we were Radio Free QuickBooks. Now we're the QB Show. We're getting the handle of the technology. When Don and myself can actually start the Hangout and run through the end without Stacy, then you know we're making progress.
We are.
But we hope she's feeling better. She'll be back next week. And Don,
I really thank Joe Woodard for last week. The Scaling New Heights was fantastic. I think extremely successful. It's always good to see people that you only see a couple times a year at conferences, and it's just nice to be able to connect with people and face to face. And certainly Intuit's booth was outstanding. So awesome to see Kim Amsbaugh and Chris Repetto and Donna Duncan and Allison Ball and Amy Ball and just everybody that was there from Intuit was fantastic. And Jorge was there, and he helped me with an ITO issue. I couldn't get the return to process for whatever reason in ITO, and he helped me right on the floor there. It was fantastic.
Right.
And of course, Frank Abagnale was there, and
that was awesome.
Did a great job in his presentation. Although, if you know his story and you saw the movie Catch Me If You Can, and you know about the fraud, you have to second guess the story a little bit. You have to be, you kind of have to look like, is he really, is he pulling one over on me? Is he really telling me a story that's real? So I kind of had one eye on him, just trying to figure out if it was real.
Well, the best part of his speech for me, and I had to leave to get my computer set up in the booth, so I missed the really cool part at the end, but I guess it was very moving. But in the movie, Leo DiCaprio and Christopher Walken, who plays his dad, had an ongoing relationship throughout Abagnale's life. However, that is not the case. And when he ran out of that courtroom in the divorce proceedings, he saw his mom 7 years later, and he never saw his dad again, ever. Never talked to him, never saw him, anything. I mean, that really, just blew me away. I was almost crying.
It tells you it's all for, I got a little chill from that, but it's all about the movie. It's all about the story, and they wanted to, and I think that, it sounds like they told a pretty accurate story, but of course, it's not embellished. It's for TV.
Right.
And, I'm sure Frank didn't tell all the secrets of things that happened, but I was very happy that Leonardo DiCaprio played him. I was thankful for that. That was...
I'm not a big Leo fan, but I get it. He's a good actor.
Well, you're not supposed to be.
I actually preferred... I really like Tom Hanks' character, man.
Oh, yeah. Really I love his accent.
Great role.
The Boston accent.
Oh, totally. Totally. No, that's exciting. I want to get the book because I want to know if they were ever real friends, later on in life, because it seemed like they had a good friendship there. All right. So, Don, very cool. Thanks for taking over the reign, and somehow it worked, and we were able to pull it off all the way through to the end. Just to recap tonight, again, we went over the sponsors, but we did talk about installation best practices when upgrading from 11 to 14. We talked about Control Y and where it is in Mac. Point
of sale multi-store merchant account.
We did the merchant account and the multi-store as well. Oh, one thing I wanted to tell, I should have said it in the beginning. For those of you that had any kind of issues with R6, like literally you installed R6 and then QuickBooks crashes, please install R7, the maintenance release R7. We actually pulled R6 down. And so R7 is going to be out the next few days. So please install that. I'm sure Charlie Russell will have a cool blog at QuickBooks and Beyond, the Sleater blog, on that. I'm sure he will. In a week, I bet it'll be there. So just wanted to play. So Don, awesome. We hope Stacy's doing well. And I think, Don, you're the one that shuts the show down. We have no music yet to exit out.
I even see the button already.
Right on. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
All right, Woody. Right on, buddy. Love you, man. Hope you're feeling better.
All right, thanks. We'll see you guys.
No way, thumb drives, no attachments. Get the files anywhere when you're permitted access. What's the matter? Frustrated with the hassle? Jump up in the cloud and join us in the castle. We're high up in the clouds and we're never coming down. So get up, get up, get up, get up in the cloud. High up in the cloud and we're never coming down. So get up, get up, get up, get up in the cloud. No way, thumb drives, no attachments. Get the files anywhere when you're permitted access. What's the matter? Frustrated with the hassle? Jump up in the cloud and join us in the castle. We're high up in the clouds and we're not